Imagine this, a room, deep inside some fortress. The only light is from flickering candles. Maps are spread all over the walls, strategies are being drawn and then erased, and the fate of entire armies is just hanging in the balance. This is the war room of power.
Right, let's get into it. Inside this room, we've got three different figures, and they're locked in a debate that goes way beyond just military tactics. They're arguing about what power is, its very nature. And their ideas, well, they've shaped history for hundreds of years.
So this gets to the heart of our entire explainer. What is power, really? Is it a prize you seize with brute force? Is it a skill, something you perfect with your mind? Or is it something else completely? Something you don't control, but you connect with?
All right, so first up, stepping out of the shadows, we have Niccolò Machiavelli. His philosophy is, well, it's famous for being cold, brutally calculated, and incredibly pragmatic. For him, power is just a game of survival.
This really lays out his core ideas. For Machiavelli, you have to grab power and hold on to it no matter what it takes. Morality? That comes second to the survival of the state. He argued that fear is way more reliable than love. Because people are unpredictable. And in the end, if the outcome is good, it doesn't matter how you got there. The ends justify the means.
And this quote, wow, it just captures his entire worldview perfectly. It's not about being evil just for fun. It's a cold, hard calculation of what actually works. For Machiavelli, power is like a fortress that you have to build and defend with any tool you can get your hands on. But hold on, what if power isn't about brute force at all? In total contrast to Machiavelli, Sun Tzu comes in with a much more refined, strategic alternative. For him, power isn't some blunt instrument, it's a fine art.
Sun Tzu's philosophy is almost the complete opposite of Machiavelli's. He teaches that the greatest skill you can have is to win without ever fighting a battle. It's all about psychology, timing, and how things look. It's about understanding the entire situation, both physically and mentally, so well that you totally outmaneuver your opponent. For Sun Tzu, the real power comes from inside, mastering yourself so you can handle any situation with the least amount of effort and conflict.
I mean, this one line says it all, right? It captures the pure elegance of his whole philosophy. Why smash a gate down when you can just find the key? Why waste all your resources in a big fight when you can get what you want through pure strategy?
So we have power as domination and power as mastery. You've got Machiavelli and Sun Tzu, these two master players. But here's the thing, they both just assume the game board is a given. Now a third perspective comes into play, and it doesn't just offer a new strategy, it flips the entire board over and shows us where it came from.
This perspective is all about this ancient idea of logos, the concept that there's a fundamental reason, a deep order, and a truth to reality itself. In this way of thinking, power isn't something we humans make or control. It's a deeper reality we can actually align with. And one of the most radical examples of this idea comes from the teachings of Jesus Christ.
And wow, this challenges everything we've just heard. This philosophy claims that real, lasting power isn't found in force or in being clever, but in truth and even in sacrifice. Authority comes from being in harmony with reality. And here, love isn't a weakness. It's the most powerful force in the universe.
And that leads to this huge paradox, right? Where Machiavelli says you have to protect your power no matter what. This philosophy says that true life and authority are actually found when you give them away for something bigger than yourself. It's a complete flip of the worldly power game.
Okay, so with this new lens, let's go back and look at our first two thinkers again. This third perspective, it's like a special kind of light that reveals all the hidden cracks in the foundations of both Machiavelli and Sun Tzu.
This table really breaks it down for us. Machiavelli's system of fear? Yeah, it can be super effective, but only if there's a stable social order to work in, and his tactics are the very thing that destroy that order over time. And Sun Tzu's brilliant strategies, they only work because reality is consistent and makes sense. His wisdom is powerful, but it doesn't explain why reality is ordered in the first place, it just uses it.
And that's the absolute limit of Machiavelli's power. Think about it. You can threaten someone into saying that 2 + 2 = 5, but you can't actually change the math. Force has zero power over what's true.
And for Sun Tzu, it's a similar kind of problem. His wisdom is all about playing the game like a grandmaster, but he doesn't get to make up the rules of the game itself. Strategy works inside an ordered reality, but it can't create it. So at the end of the day, any system of power that's based on twisting or controlling reality is just fundamentally unstable. It's like trying to build a house on sand. Sooner or later, it's going to collapse.
And that brings us right to the core thesis of this radical reversal. Lasting power, true authority, it's not about bending the world to your will. It's about bending your will to align with the world as it actually is.
So after this whole journey through the war room, where does that leave us? Let's try to pull all these colliding ideas together into a new, more complete understanding of what power really is.
Let's just walk through it one more time. First, we saw that Machiavelli's path of pure domination is totally unstable because it ends up destroying the very order it needs to survive. Second, Sun Tzu's path of strategy is amazing, but it's incomplete. It depends on a universe that makes sense, but it can't explain why it does. And that leads us to our final point. True, lasting authority comes from aligning with the source of that order, with truth, with reality, and with love itself.
And that's the big takeaway here. Ultimately, power isn't some weapon to be used or a puzzle to be solved. It's more like a current to move with. The greatest authority doesn't belong to the one who controls the most, but to the one who is most in tune with what is real and true.
And so we leave that war room with one last question. And this one isn't for some general or a philosopher. It's for each of us. In our own lives, at work, in our relationships, are we always fighting to control reality, or are we seeking to align ourselves with it?